In this video, we're going to start the KutaSoftware Infinite Geometry free worksheet, Arcs and Chords. Now by this video, we should know what an arc is. An arc is essentially from one point to another point on a circle. And we're following around the circumference of that circle. That is what makes the arc. And a chord is essentially a line or line segment that connects the points of that arc. Now what we're to do is to find the length of the segment indicated, and then we're going to round our answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. So looking at number 1, our indicated length is x, and x forms part of a chord. However, it does not form the whole chord. The whole chord is x plus 6. And that's a chord because we can see the arc shares the same endpoints as that line segment. Now there's a theorem that says if a radius or a diameter intersect a chord and that intersection is perpendicular or at 90 degrees, then it bisects that chord. So when a radius or diameter intersects a chord perpendicularly, it will bisect that chord, meaning that that chord will be cut in half. So if our value for half the chord is x, and the value for the other half of the chord is 6, that means that x is equal to 6. Because since 6 is half of the chord and x is the other half of the chord, the total length of the chord would be 12, so x would be 6. In number 2, again, we're looking for x, and x is part of a chord. And notice that the whole entire chord would be x plus 3. And we can see that the line for the radius or diameter will bisect that chord perpendicularly. Therefore, it's splitting it in half. So x will be equal to 3. So 3 is our solution in number 2. In number 3, we can see that x is part of the radius, since x plus 7 equals the radius. We're also given that the diameter is 31.8. So if we know that the diameter is 31.8, we can solve for the radius. Remember, the radius is half of the diameter, or the diameter divided by 2. So the radius r is going to equal 31.8 divided by 2. So r is equal to 15.9. So we know that the radius is 15.9. And from the center point of the circle to the edge of the circle, or to any point along that arc, that's the radius. And you can see that that radius r will be equal to 7 plus x. However, we already calculated the radius to be 15.9. So plugging 15.9 in for our radius, we'll get 15.9 equal to 7 plus x. So all we need to do is subtract 7 in order to solve for x. So 15.9 minus 7 equals 8.9. So 8.9 is our solution in number 3. Moving on to number 4, we can see that x is a portion of the radius, and that radius is going to be equal to x plus 5.1. However, we can see that that radius r is also equal to 9.7. So if 9.7 is the radius r, we'll plug 9.7 in for r in our equation and then solve for x. So we'll subtract 5.1 from both sides to get that x is equal to 4.6. So 4.6 is x in number 4. And we knew that this was a radius because it bisected a chord perpendicularly. So because that chord was bisected perpendicularly, we know that this is indeed a straight line and therefore the radius. And number 5, again, this is a radius because it intersects a chord perpendicularly. So x plus 4.5 will equal the radius. So now we just need to solve for that radius r. And they give us that the diameter, which is this straight line that goes across the circle intersecting that center point, is 25.2. So 25.2 is our diameter. Therefore, the radius is equal to the diameter divided by 2, which r will equal 25.2 divided by 2, which is 12.6. So if we take 12.6 for r and plug that into our equation, we'll get x plus 4.5 equals 12.6. Now in order to solve for x, all we need to do is subtract 4.5 from both sides of our equation. X plus 4.5 minus 4.5 is x, and 12.6 minus 4.5 is 8.1. So 8.1 is our solution in number 5. And again, that's 8 1/10 for number 5. And lastly in this video, I'll go over number 6. Number 6, we can see x is a part of the radius because it intersects a chord at 90 degrees. Therefore, x plus 4.2 is equal to the radius. So r equals x plus 4.2. And we know that the diameter d is 18.8. So if d is equal to 18.8, that means r is equal to 18.8 divided by 2. So r is going to be equal to 9.4. So we'll take 9.4 and plug that in for r and then solve for x. Now we'll subtract 4.2 from both sides of our equation to get that x is equal to 9.4 minus 4.2, which is 5.2. So 5 2/10 is the solution in number 6. And I'll stop this video here. Join me in the next video where I'll complete the second page of this worksheet, finishing numbers 7 through 14. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. And as always, like, subscribe, and share.